Hey everybody, OMG. Here we are in December. It is a rainy day here in Los Angeles, like crazy rain. I haven't seen rain like this. Well, I guess it rained a lot when I was in New York earlier this year. And then of course in Seattle, it rained quite a bit, but man, this weather that we're having in LA right now is crazy. We need it. It's great. It's wonderful. I actually really like the rain and I've missed it. So I'm happy to see it, but let me just make sure my cameras here are doing what they're supposed to do. But it's, it's such a strange experience to be inside where it's warm and cozy, and outside it's like rainy and wet. That's not my usual Los Angeles weather experience. Anyway, I didn't come on here to to give you the weather forecast. We're going to talk about the December energy transmission today. I know I'm a few days late. I was on vacation last week and had a wonderful time with my family. And then just coming back to it, like I was playing catch up because I had all this stuff that I didn't do when I was on vacation last week. So it was like playing catch up with all of that, and then all the clients. I just wasn't thinking really far in advance, and I should have given myself an extra day between vacation and getting back to work so I could do this video and take care of some admin stuff. But I didn't. I just jumped right back into it. So I've been really busy with clients the past couple of days. And this has been on my mind. This December energy transmission has absolutely been like forefront of my mind. So I've been with you, at least in thought. So I'm super excited that we're finally doing this today. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me here on this rainy, wet Thursday here in Los Angeles in December. You know, we're already off to a really great start. Mercury's going direct. I think it's today or tomorrow. And I have definitely been feeling that the past couple of days of like, oh, it just feels a little bit more relaxed. It feels a little bit more easy. It feels a little less intense, a little less exhausting. But of course, that's all relative, right? An easy day for us now, a year ago, would have been like the most difficult, challenging day ever. So I think it's really beautiful to see how we are adapting and adjusting to this expansion that we're all going through. And we're going to talk about this, straddling two worlds seems to be sort of the theme that has been coming through for myself and with clients. And when I was meditating this morning, the image that I got. So I'm going to share all of that with you, like how do I tend to one thing and build the container for the new thing? How do I stay present in my experience and be with myself as I go through these last bits of this purging that's still happening this month? And at the same time, begin to build the new thing. How do I take care of myself and get my own needs attended to while I am also creating space and helping others in the way that I'm guided to? So it does really feel like in many ways we're split and our awareness is sort of in two places at once. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a lot more for this month's energy transmission for December. But first, I have a couple of things I want to share with you. Number one, I am so excited. My friend Naha, she's on Instagram, Naha99. On Facebook, it's 22 Teachings is her site. My friend Naha, we have been friends since early 90s days in Seattle when we were both crazy party kids. And to reconnect with her in LA, she lives here in LA. She works with the House of Intuition. She's an amazing magician, an amazing energy practitioner, tarot reader, crystal guru, wizard, and she has written a book, Everyday Crystal Rituals. I don't know if the text is going to be backwards because I'm using the front-facing camera. Anyway, Naha Armadi is her name. Everyday Crystal Rituals is her book. It is full of incredible information on crystals, on practical uses of crystals, how to use them in your rituals, how to create personal rituals for them, how to use them to empower and support you. There's like a crystal Bible in here with all this information on the crystals that she uses. She's got so many rituals and little magic spells in here and ways to work with crystals to support you in love, in abundance, in healing, in inspiration, in creation. It is an amazing, amazing book. I am so proud of her, and I wanted to just take a quick second to share this with you. Everyday Crystal Rituals by Naha Armadi. You can see, I think it's available on Amazon now. I'm so excited for her to be sharing this book with you. So I just wanted to take a minute and give a shout out to her because she deserves it. She's amazing. She's wonderful. She is magic, y'all. If you really want to know, she teaches classes here in LA at the House of Intuition, and she has her own school, the 22 Teachings, School of 22 Teachings. If you want to connect with someone who is the real deal, she is the one to talk to. So her book is out, Everyday Crystal Rituals. I just wanted to take a second and blow her horn because I am so proud of her. She's a dear friend of mine. We've known each other forever. And it's super cool. I'm super, super proud of her. And so I want to take a second to give a shout out. So check that out if you're into crystal magic and you're looking for some guidance and some insight on crystals and how to use them. There's over 100 crystal profiles in here. I don't know how many, 100 and something rituals that she created. This is all her stuff that she created. So this just isn't recycled information. This is legit new content on how to use crystals and the magic of them in your everyday life. And I've got two events for you that I want to talk about. On the 12th of December, coming up next Wednesday, 12/12 Energy Gathering from 6 to 7 p.m. Pacific Time. It's going to be an online event. It's an hour of energy work. And for those of you who joined the 11/11 Energy Gathering that we did last month, you know how amazingly powerful and wonderful that is, or that was. And so this month is the 12/12 gathering. It's going to be another opportunity for us to come together in community to really support each other. You know, 12 is an interesting number, and this is part of what we're going to see this month in December. 1 is the number of autonomy, with who am I? How do I know myself as Andrew, who's having the experience of being the separate individual being. So 1 is all about me as an autonomous, sovereign self, and how do I know myself as apart from the world, and how do I know myself as Andrew, as the divine moving through me. 2 is the number of relationships. 2 is how do I know myself relative to you. So 12 is a lot about balance. It's masculine and feminine. It's yin and yang, the light and the dark, the beautiful, bright, sparkly stuff and the deeper, shadowy, murky stuff. And how do I embody all of it? And how does it affect me and how I know myself? And also, how does it affect me in relation to you and to the world and to the external reality? So the 12/12 is going to be all about bringing in balance. It's all about, all of the work that we have done, all of the clearing that we have done, all of the intensity that we have endured and survived through and thrived through in this year. 12/12 is really about anchoring those shifts in, to bringing in that equilibrium and that balance within, right? Balance within, balance without. So join me on 12/12, Wednesday, 6 to 7 p.m. Pacific. It's going to be done on Zoom, so you can join from anywhere in the world. Everyone who signs up gets an MP3 of the sound healing work that we're going to be doing. So even if you can't attend live, you can still experience the sound healing. And for those of you who have joined me before, you know that when I do the sound healing, sometimes the sound gets really weird and it goes out. There's a guy, and I can't remember his name, I think his name is Ryan, who after the 11/11 sent me a link to, I believe, solve the problem. So I think I have solved the problem to the sound cutting out on my online energy healing events and sound healing events. So join me on 12/12 because I think it's going to be the first time that we legitimately get to hear all of the sound healing and without it going into the white noise and without it going into static. So I think I've solved the problem. It was a setting on Zoom, and fingers crossed that it's been rectified. So the second thing that I want to share with you is that the Emotional Architecture Workshop, January 13th, 20th, and 27th from 12 to 2. It's 3 Sundays in a row. I am so excited to be sharing this workshop with you, you guys. I've taught this class before. I did it in London. I've done it here in the States. And the emotional architecture is the cornerstone, or one of the cornerstones of my practice. It is something we use a lot in the Mastery Mentorship Program. It is one of my favorite tools. It is a method to connect you with the power of your emotions, to help you learn to trust them and to harness the creative ability that our emotions hold, and learning how to consciously use them to begin to create change in your life now. So Emotional Architecture, 3 Sundays, 2 hours each Sunday. You get an MP3 of each session. It is going to be actual, real world, hands-on workshop class. It's the first time I'm doing this one online, and I cannot wait to share it with you. So check that out. It's already on my Facebook. I think that I have it in my Linktree link on Instagram. If not, I'll put all the links in the description. The Emotional Architecture is going to be awesome, and it's limited. I'm not opening. This one is only 40 people, I think, can attend. So if you want to learn how to create a tool for yourself that will become your GPS system for the rest of your life, I am not kidding. I am not overstating the importance and the power of this tool. The Emotional Architecture is an amazing tool. And the last announcement announcement is Mastery Mentorship is still running at the discounted rate. I still have the payment plan available. That is going to change at the end of the year. So if you've been wanting to do Mastery Mentorship, now is the time to sign up at the discounted rate, because as of January 1st, we're going back to full price. Enough with the announcements, enough with the self-promotion. We have a little bit more coffee before we jump in to December energy. I mean, December already, and plus, like, doesn't it seem like December's already almost over? Like, it's basically going to be Christmas tomorrow, and then it's New Year's Eve, and then it's Valentine's Day, and then we're already into, like, you know, the eclipse season. So, you know, time is going by like this. And December is, in many ways, a little bit of a breather. You know, December oftentimes feels like it's this last minute sort of mad dash as we cross the finish line. But for this year, it feels to me a little bit easier, a little bit more, like I can exhale and I can relax for a minute and I can enjoy things for a minute, and I don't have to worry about always tending to something and having my awareness or my attention called in something. I can just be present with myself. But there's an interesting thing that's happening in December. Straddling two worlds is a lot of what I've been seeing many of us are sort of going through right now. And when I was meditating this morning and sort of asking for some insight, they showed me this image that they've been actually showing me a lot the past couple of weeks as I've been working with clients and going through my own experience. It's like we're sort of straddling a fence. One foot is in the past and sort of rectifying, you know, the old stuff, and one foot is in the present and moving towards the future and creating the container for what's coming. We're sort of actively letting the old thing die, letting the old thing be nursed through to its death. The image that I've been seeing a lot is that of, you know, and the analogy that's been coming through a lot is that of like a hospice nurse. That, you know, someone who is basically, their job is to come into the home and to be a caregiver as someone is dying, as someone is going through their last phase of life. And their job basically is just to be present. Just to be present with this person, with this old version of self as it dies, as it breathes its last breath. And in many ways, that's what we are going through. There is this part of us that has been the part of us that has been front and center for the most part in this year. But I really feel like, as I was reflecting this morning on my own experience, I was like, you know what? I feel like this death started really in 2016. And the death of the low self, the death of the limited self, the death of the self that is fearful, the death of the self, you know, that uses lies and deceit and manipulation to navigate the world, the death of the self that is always resistant, the death of the self that is always has an excuse, that always has a reason that it's someone else's fault or why I can't do it, the death of the victim self, the death of the self that is defined by the other. And isn't it interesting that in this month, the 12 month, and as we're moving towards 12/12, that's really what so much of this is about. And really the 12/12 energy gathering is going to be a lot about this, is how do I know myself now? What is the truth of myself now? And how do I allow that to be present in my awareness and hold that up and honor that, even while my old self, the lower self, the limited self, the fearful self, the whatever self, is breathing its last breaths and is allowing itself to just be completed, to let it go, to exhaust that old self. And at the same time, I am focusing on what's starting to come in. The breadcrumbs are starting to show themselves. The seeds are starting to sprout. And I'm starting to get some pictures and some images and some insight and some inspiration about what's coming and what's new. But I need to be in both places at once. And in many ways, when we talk about sort of the ascension process or moving into these higher levels of awareness, we talk a lot about multidimensionality. And one of the ways that multidimensionality really begins to first assert itself into our awareness is through our own experience, right? I have my mental level of awareness, my emotional level of awareness, my physical level of awareness, and my energetic level of awareness. And all of these, in any given moment, I can move in and out of. I can focus on my thoughts, I can focus on my emotions, I can focus on my body, I can focus on my energy, and all of them have their own narrative, all of them have their own perspective, and all of them are available to me in this moment right now. And then on top of that, now I am building this multidimensional awareness of allowing myself to be present with what's going on internally. What is happening within me? What is asking for my love? What is asking for my acknowledgement? What is asking for my healing? And what is asking for release? And at the same time, I am paying attention to the signs and the signals that are coming in that are beginning to call me forward. So yes, I am sort of divided in a sense, but the reality is I am always divided. In that sense that there's Big Andrew, the creator self, the soul self, the non-physical self, who is always knowing itself through Andrew the human. So we're already always moving in and out of these different layers of awareness. It's just now we're being called to do it mindfully. We're being called to do it deliberately. And we are being called to step into this mastery. So while I allow these old versions of myself to die, to fade away, and it's not really that version of self, but the version of self that is projected through the story. I reclaim these aspects of me and I let them tell me the story. I let them tell me what's going on. What is this pain about? What is this fear about? What is this wound about? And they tell me, and as I integrate that information and I integrate this part of myself, I see that really the only thing that's dying is the story. It's just letting go of those old ways of being and really trusting that now they are complete. And we had Venus going direct after being retrograde, and then I believe it was it Neptune or Pluto that recently went to direct? Maybe I believe it was Neptune that recently went direct, and then like the day of or the day after Venus went direct, then Mercury went retrograde. So we've got all of these transitions, we've got all of these stations, right? Turning from retrograde and then stationing direct and moving forward. So it has been all about going in here, and now that I know thank you, Oliver Neptune. So now that I know what's going on in here, I've got the lay of the land. I have the map of my inner landscape that this past year has really called forth, right? That's been a lot of what we've been experiencing this past year is how do I even just map what's going on in here emotionally, mentally, physically, and energetically? What does my landscape look like? Now I know, or at least I know more than I did a year ago. And how does that now inform the way that I navigate my external world? So I have all of my aspects present with me and they continue to come home. I continue to welcome them back. I continue to integrate them, and as I integrate them, then what is no longer true falls away. So on the one hand, I am still nurturing these old versions of myself through death. And I thought about this, there's some meme that I was laughing at the other day that said basically, energy update. Energies are intense and are going to be for the rest of your life. So get your shit together and, succeed, basically was sort of the gist of it. And I thought one of the words that I use a lot is intense. Another word that I use a lot is exhausting when it comes to talking about these energies. And for the past couple of years, it has been intense and exhausting. And I started thinking more about this idea of being exhausted. This idea of being depleted. And I thought, you know what? Yeah, it has been exhausting, and thank fucking God it has been exhausting. Sure, there have been days where it's like, oh my God, I can't go on. Can I take one more day of this intensity? And feeling like we were just about to break, but understanding that what was being exhausted was the lower self, the small self, the self that thrives from, limitation and heartbreak and scarcity and intent, that version of self that feels like I need those things, right? I need the drama. I need the conflict. I need the sense of intensity to sort of wake me up, right? I talk about this all the time. Humans are a funny bunch. We say we want change, but then the opportunity for change presents itself and most of us back off. And really, we're only ever willing to finally step into change when we feel like we have no other choice. So what has been exhausted? My fear resources. What has been exhausted? My fucking stack of lies, my stack of illusion, the reserve that I have of all of the excuses and all of the reasons why I can't do it, all of the reasons why I'm a victim, all of the reasons why it never works out for me, all of the stories that tell me why I can't be loved or I can't be successful or I don't deserve that or I'm not worthy of that. Fucking exhaust it. Exhaust the well of the old stories and the old methods. Deplete the storage, that you have of all of the reasons why you can't have what you want. Deplete that well of fear that we are always drawing from. Let that pain pain go. Let that wound heal. Exhaust it. Exhaust it. Go into those reserves of limitation and bleed them dry. That is what this year has been about. Allow yourself to be exhausted. Allow yourself to be depleted, because once we get rid of that stuff, once we attend to that stuff, once I get in there and I clean out the wound and I get it right and I stitch it up with my love and my compassion and my understanding and my willingness to sit with myself, my willingness to love myself in the way that I've never been loved, my willingness to parent myself in the way that I wish I had been parented, or that I needed to be parented, or that I should have been parented. My willingness to finally sit and say, you know what? If I'm always saying that I'm out here looking for love, but I'm not loving myself, then I need to get right with that. I need to exhaust all of the excuses and the stories and the reasons and the lies that I tell myself about why I cannot have what I say that I want. And in many ways, this year has been all about, how do I empty myself of the stories that other people have projected upon me, that I have either inherited or adopted, about who I am and what it means to be Andrew and what it means to be the person I am, what it means to have the skin color and the gender and the economic background and the cultural background and all of the things that we use to qualify and quantify and identify ourselves, and to tell us who we are, and to tell others who we are. Exhaust it, let it go. Because once I let that shit go, and once I create a vacuum, now it gets really good. Because now I get to be mindful, I get to be deliberate, I get to be unflinching in my allegiance to only choosing what is true for me now. I'm gonna fill up this space that this exhaustion, this depletion has created, and I'm gonna fill it up with the truth. I'm gonna fill it up with my love. I'm gonna fill it up with my joy and my compassion and my fulfillment and my inspiration and my desire and my success and my ease and my joy. So I take that well of fear and I bleed it dry, and now I get to fill it with truth. So no longer am I drawing from pain, because when pain is present, we create from there first. We cannot create above our lowest belief. So when there is a belief, or when there is pain, when there is a wound that is present in my field, in my body, in my mind, in my emotions, wherever it is, it doesn't matter. That is always going to be the thing that rises to the top first, because my job is to master what I am given. So when I finally find a way to say, you know what? Yes, I've had this experience. Yes, I've had this journey. Yes, I've had all of these things happen. But it doesn't have to be me anymore. I don't have to believe this bullshit idea anymore. I don't have to believe this limiting story and this limiting belief anymore. I can let it go. I can release it. I can exhaust that. And now I get to have the experience of putting myself back together in the way that I know is true for me now. That is why we shattered ourselves. I know. And trust me, I am with you. I had the same experience this year, a feeling like I was shattered. A feeling like I was broken beyond any semblance of being broken that I had ever experienced. And in a way that I was very consciously aware of. I was present for all of it, and I know that we all were. It's like we were sort of, our face was put right into our pain, right? Our wound was brought front and center, and it was the only thing oftentimes that we could see for months and weeks, and it felt like it was never gonna go. But we needed that, we chose that. We needed to be shattered, to be fractured, so that we could then decide, oh, number one, I'm still here. I made it. I made it through the wilderness. Now I'm singing Madonna. But we made it, y'all. It is December 6th and we are here. We made it. Sure, we may be barely hanging on by a thread, but we're fucking here. So number one, I got to see that I could face the fear. I could go into the scary dark place. I could have the destruction. I could be shattered. I could be broken. I could explode my life. And I survived. I made it. I'm alive. I am here. Give me a heart emoji or a thumbs up if this has been your experience. Have you had that experience this year of being shattered, of being broken, of having your face almost shoved into your pain every single moment of every single day until you finally said, okay, I give. I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to love it. I'm going to acknowledge it. I'm going to find a way to understand this part of me. I'm going to find a way to see what this pain is asking for. And I'm going to love it. And now I get to slowly begin the process of piecing myself back together and saying, yep, this is still me. Nope, not me anymore. Nope, this never was me. Don't want it to be. Don't know how that made it through, but you know what I'm saying? So now is when we get to really decide what is true and what is not, and how do I want to proceed. And yes, there may still be on this hand of, tending to myself as these aspects of myself continue to die and exhaust themselves and breathe their last breath. And I just sit with them, and I'm with them, and I watch them, and I love them, and I observe them, and when they need something from me, I give it to them. And now at the same time, with the other hand, I am beginning to ask the questions, okay, who am I now? What is vital for me now? What lights me up inside now? What is it that I want to fan those flames? What do I want to nurture? What do I want to focus on? What do I want to put the spotlight of my awareness on so that it can grow and it can evolve and it can expand and it can grow? It can get bigger. It can start to take up a more profound space in my life. So how do I straddle this fence? You just straddle it. You're just present. You just watch it. You don't really have to do anything. It's not really so much about doing, although there is action required, but it's mostly about being. And as we've been talking about for the past couple of months, it's about being first and then acting, finding my connection and then making a choice, finding that center and then deciding, finding my resonance within myself and finding that, okay, I'm here, I'm connected, I'm present, I have my own oxygen mask on now, and so what am I going to do about it, right? How am I going to step forward in service? How am I going to take care of myself and others? And now that we have been emptied, now that this past year, really past 2 years, again, I think for me it really started in 2016. But now that I am empty, how do I fill myself up, and what do I fill myself up with? What do I allow to come in? Because here's the key. A heart that is full, a self that is full, a mind and a body and a spirit and an energy that is filled with my truth, that is filled with my connection to source, that is filled with the things that I know to be true and that I hold dear now. A heart that is full says, I don't need you to fill me because I fill myself. I don't need my external circumstances to validate me because I validate myself. I don't need the outside world and those in it to accept me because I accept myself. Give me a thumbs up or a heart emoji, even give me a fucking poop emoji or a unicorn emoji. I don't care. I mean, aren't you happy to hear this and to feel the resonance of that truth? When I'm full of who I am, when I know the truth of who I am, when I know what brings me joy and makes me tick and I give myself what I need, I don't need it from you anymore. I don't require the external world to bring me anything because, number one, I find a way to bring it to myself. And number two, here's the trick, the rule of all rules. The internal world, this is the primary reality. The external world is the secondary reality. And when I get right with this has no choice but to fall into line and bring me the thing that matches what's going on in here. So when I fill myself, I attract people and circumstances that support my fullness. Not complete it, because I'm already full. I don't need you to give me because I gave it to myself. I don't need you to complete me because I completed myself. I don't need you to love me because I love myself. And now your love becomes gravy. Now your presence in my life supports me in filling myself, supports me in staying fulfilled, supports me in nurturing and cultivating my own joy. And that's when the universe says, oh, man, Andrew's got it. He's connected. He's on point. He's balanced. He's doing what he can do to fulfill himself. And so now we can bring him circumstances and people and opportunities and resources that support him, further support him in nurturing himself, further support him in fulfilling and healing and knowing himself. So what we went through over this past summer, especially, and many of us with the relationships, feeling like, how did this asshole make it under my radar? How did I find myself back here in this place that I haven't been in forever, right? It was so much of it was Groundhog Day. Like, why am I here again? It's so that we could let that aspect of us finally have that moment and then die. I got the beautiful front row seat of the most toxic, narcissistic, imbalanced relationship that I have ever found myself in this summer with that dude. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back to the October video, the one where I got emotional and started crying on camera. I got the blessing of this monster relationship in my reality to show me 100%, dude, this is what you believe. This is what you believe. It's not a punishment. It's not a judgment. It's not an indictment. It is just absolutely 100% a perfect reflection of what you believe. And now I don't need someone to be the monster so that I can be, the victim. I don't need someone to be wrong so I can be right. I don't need someone to be an asshole so that I can be the bright, shiny, perfect, right? I don't need that anymore. I don't need that duality. I don't need that opposition anymore because I have found within myself where that lived and where that lives. And now I know what that realm of my internal landscape looks like, and I'm not afraid to go there anymore because I fucking camped out there for 3 months. So now when someone comes across the threshold singing that same song and ringing that bell, I'm like, dude, no, I don't even have time to listen to that. It doesn't even register on my radar. I don't even see it because my perspective is up at a different level now where it's like a different set of glasses. It's like, those videos that were really popular on Facebook a couple years ago about the glasses that have been created that allow colorblind people to see color. And you see these beautiful, and they always make me cry, but I fucking cry at Folgers commercials. I cry at everything. But you see these people who have never seen color. They've only ever seen the world through black and white, sort of shades of gray. And for the first time, they put on these glasses and they can see color, something that most of us just take for granted. That's where we are. Now I see a different reality coming to me because my reality in here has been adjusted. I've moved up in my awareness, and so now what I'm looking at matches that new level of awareness and that new perspective. It's really quite simple. But simple is not always easy, as we have discovered, right? So coffee grounds, gross. So when I hold love for myself within and I attract circumstances that support me in loving myself and choosing that for myself, I begin to see that that's how we do it. And now it's no longer where's my joy, where's my satisfaction, where's my love. It is I have found my joy, I have found my satisfaction, I have found my love within, and now I bring it forward. Now I bring it with me. Now I don't need you to bring me joy because I bring joy to it. I bring the fullness of who I am to the struggle. So I don't need to solve the struggle. I don't need to solve the problem because when I allow my fullness to be present and I bring myself and the fullness of myself to the problem or the struggle or the circumstances, that's what changes it. I become my own fucking pillar of fire. And so when I step into something that is no longer true for me, my fire burns away that which is no longer true. So merely my presence in the room creates a shift. All I gotta do is show up and allow my fullness to join me, to move through me. And now I am 40 pounds of sugar in a 5-pound bag. And so I'm gonna bust through any of those limitations without even trying. All I gotta do is be present. All I gotta do is show up. When I walk into the room, shit changes because of the energy field that I imprint on the room. And this is true for all of us. You don't got to do anything. You just got to show up. Your work is your work is done when you pay attention to what's going on. You give yourself the love and the attention and the acknowledgement and the acceptance that you require. You learn how to tend to yourself in the way that you needed to be tended to. And now that you've had the opportunity to practice it and practice it and practice it again, now we move into the real world. And in many ways, 2019 is still going to call us to straddle the fence because I still got to tend to my own stuff. I still got to make sure I'm right. I still got to put on my oxygen mask first so that then I can hold space for others. Then I can show others how to put on their oxygen mask. Now I can show others what they need to see, but I'm also not responsible for it. It is not my job to go out and save the world. It is my job to save myself, to create the life that I desire and dream of for myself, and then lead by example. I heal myself, and then I show you how I did it. And hopefully you get something out of it and there's something that you can carry away with you. That you want to change the world, change yourself, and then show others how you did it. Live through the clarity of your example. I can look around, and in 2019, much of what we're going to be seeing is seeing our own experience and our own lives get bigger and more grand and more effortless and more easy and more joyful while the world continues to collapse around us. But that doesn't mean that I can't thrive. That doesn't mean that I can't find balance and connection within the chaos. And in fact, it is my duty to find that balance, to find that connection, to maintain that equilibrium. So I hold space. And finally someone goes, wait a minute, what's Andrew doing? His life gets better and better while the world is falling apart. I'm going to go ask him how he does it, and then I get to share. And that's how you do it. And it doesn't matter how. You don't need to have the plan yet. The plan will come. You don't need to have it all figured out yet. That will come. You just start with, what am I tending to? What am I focused on? What am I being called to bring my love and my joy and my fulfillment to? And anytime I start to feel like, okay, where's my, when I start to get entitled and I throw a tantrum, where's my love? Where's my joy? I showed up here and the shit I was looking for wasn't here. That's always an opportunity to say, oh, okay. Any experience that I have of scarcity or lack is only pointing me towards an internal space where I'm not giving it to myself. So if I'm pointing my finger at you and saying, where's my love, motherfucker? You gotta love me. You owe me love. That is an opportunity to turn that nasty little finger on myself and say, all right, boo, where in here are you not loving? What in here are you not showing up and honoring? What in here is asking for you to sit with it and to love it and to see it? So I can fill that gap. I can fill that void. I posted this meme the other day. Greed, because I've been thinking a lot about greed lately. Greed is the desire for more without the belief that I am worthy of it. There is not enough of anything that will fill the void by the lie that I am unworthy. I am worthy because I am. That's it. Plain and simple. You are just as divine as I am. We are the divinity that flows through all things. We are the same thing. We all come from the same place. We're all the same energy. We're all the same spark. And we are just different versions of that projecting through our own awareness and the lens of who we are in this creation. But when I believe that I am unworthy, I am going to go around, then I get angry, then I get panicked, then I get entitled, where's my motherfucking shit? You're going to have to figure that out for yourself because the world doesn't owe you anything. And when I'm in balance and I'm graspy and I'm, clawing at things and I've got it in a death grip, it's because on some level there's something within me that is not congruent. I'm not lined up with myself. So continue to focus on what's going on in here, nurture that, feed that, fulfill that. And now I carry it with me. Okay, I don't need it out here because I've got it in here. And when I carry this with me and I show up, then the universe says, wow, it bends itself to the will of our truth. And it says, wow, man, no matter what, Andrew is showing up secure in his truth of who he is, grounded in the truth of who he is, carrying that with him without the sense of entitlement, without the sense of feeling like I'm owed anything. I don't need you to provide anything for me. I can provide it for myself, and I show up. And isn't that the irony? When I no longer expect the external world to bring it to me, and I find a way to nurture it and cultivate it within, bam, that's when it shows up. Isn't that just the great irony of it all? That it shows up when it's no longer important. It finally shows up when I stop stamping my foot with my hands on my hips saying, "Where is it, motherfucker?" And I say, okay, well, I'm going to find a way to start to nurture and cultivate that within myself first. So, yes, we are straddling two worlds. We are going to be sort of, pulled in two different directions for a minute here. And it's easy. We've got this. It's just another level of expansion in how we navigate the world and how now we begin to see our multidimensionality really, really kick in. That I can be aware of what's going on in here while I'm focused out here. I can be focused in here and paying attention to what's going on in here. I can be nurturing myself and cultivating and bringing to myself that which I require. And at the same time, I can have an eye on the outside world saying, where am I inspired to help? Where am I inspired to show up? Where am I inspired to assist? Where am I inspired to support? Where am I inspired to heal or to teach or just to be present and listen? We didn't come here to transcend the human experience. We came here to transform the human experience. We didn't come here to kill or deny or get rid of the ego. That's ridiculous. You can't. We came here to renegotiate what the ego does. We came here to show the ego that it is no longer the one in charge, that it is the assistant now, that we need it. I need the ego if I'm going to be human. It's part of the deal. I didn't come here to deny my humanness. I came here to transform what it even means to be a human. So, take a breath, take a beat, listen what's going on in here, find that love, find that satisfaction, find that fulfillment, find that joy, fan that flame, water that plant, nurture that thing, and let it open up and fill you, and now you bring it with you. And now when I walk around in fullness and satisfaction and ease, the universe and the world out here takes notice and says, oh, fulfillment, satisfaction, and ease. That's what we got to bring Andrew, because that's what he's vibrating at. That's the only thing he sees, right? He's got the glasses on now. He doesn't see it in black and white anymore. He only sees it in color. So we got to bring in the things that match his new vision, that match his new viewpoint. And that's really it. I'm sure there will be an update. I know there will be an update because we've still got a lot going on this month. But where we are right now is stop, take a breath. You don't have to be triggered by the old triggers anymore. You get to choose now. Do I really still believe this? Is this really still a thing that has a hold on me? Do I really, girl? Do you really need it? Chances are you don't. And if it makes the ego uncomfortable, it's really, really good for the soul. So it's okay if you're uncomfortable. It's okay if you don't know how to do it. It's okay. You'll figure it out. You're an infinite fucking being. You've done this 12 billion times. Come on. You've got it. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. Believe in yourself. Because a lack of faith or trust in the universe is just a lack of faith or trust in myself. Because I am the universe. I'm just the universe squeezed into this package called Andrew. December 12th, Wednesday, 6 to 7 p.m. Pacific time, the 12/12 Energy Gathering. Join me. It's going to be amazing. It's online, done via Zoom, so you can join from anywhere in the world. And when you sign up, you get an MP3. Emotional Architecture Workshop, January 13th, 20th, and 27th. I have never done this one online before. It is a cornerstone. The emotional architecture is a huge part of the Mastery Mentorship. It's a huge part of my own life. It's one of my favorite tools. And for the first time ever, I'm going to be teaching you this tool online. It's limited to 40 people. It's 3 Sundays in a row from 12 to 2 Pacific time. Amazing opportunity. Sign up for that. And Mastery Mentorship is still at the discounted rate through the end of the year only. January 1st, it's going back up to the full rate. So if you've been wanting to do it, now's the time. I still have the payment plan available. It's an amazing opportunity. I mean, It's alchemy. That's what mastery mentorship is. And that's really what this whole experience is. It's alchemy, man. We're taking the dense, heavy, leaden stuff, that heavy, dense stuff, and we're refining it. We're transforming it. We're transmuting it into the light, bright, golden stuff, into the lighter stuff, into that 12th dimensional frequency of unconditional love. That's what alchemy is, y'all. It's taking the density of our humanness and transforming it into the light, the lightness of our true self, of our creator self. Thank you so much for your patience, you guys. I know so many of you are messaging you like, when is December coming? Come on, when is December coming? It's here. We're good. Thank you. I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. I'll put all the links for everything in the description so that you can sign up for all the exciting, wonderful things I have coming up. Mwah. I love you. Happy December. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.